everybody, and welcome back to On the DL. We have two guests today because we have co-hosts of what has become one of my favorite podcasts called The Feminine Warrior. And I wanted so much to have both hosts on to talk all about their new podcast and talk about so much of themselves and the meaning behind why this podcast came to existence and their personal stories, because I really believe as women, we need to share our journeys. And Helen and Dianne are both going to share their journeys with us today. So hi, Helen. Hi, Dianne. Thank you for joining us on the DL.
Hi, Dana. Thanks for having us.
So I just want to read out to our listeners what the Feminine Warrior is so they can have an understanding. And then we'll get into who both you are.
Perfect.
Love. Okay. So the Feminine Warrior podcast, hosts Helen Tansey and Dianne Wiseman, is a space that celebrates women who have dove deep into the darkness to reclaim their light. I say that slowly. I read that slowly because I want that to sink in for a moment for people that are listening. Dove deep into the darkness to reclaim their light. I love that. Sorry, it leaves me speechless because I was on the Feminine Warrior. I was interviewed by both of you, and it was such a beautiful experience. Sometimes when you have an experience, particularly with women, that's so fulfilling and purposeful, and you don't even know what it was, but you walk away going, "Oh, that was so good." That's how I felt after I spoke to the two of you. So I urge everyone, after they listen to On the DL, they should head over to the Feminine Warrior and listen, because I love what the two of you are doing, both in sisterhood and for women. So
thank you.
Helen, maybe we can start with you and tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get to Dianne.
Sure. So just about myself, I have been shooting. I'm a photographer, and I specialize taking photos of actors, celebrities, and then I also photograph. I'm an advocate for women as they age. So I did a book a few years ago called Sundari Women, and I have a whole section of that, trying to shed light and raise the awareness of women as we age, that we be seen, that we be heard, and that just because we're getting older, it doesn't mean that we're invisible and we're not going anywhere. And to try to help women feel better about themselves as they age, and not that they are less than just because they're getting older. And so that's my business stuff. And then I'm married to an incredible man, and I've got two beautiful boys, teen boys, and my dog Harvey, and two chinchillas.
Chinchillas?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Dianne?
They're very
I don't know how you beat the chinchillas, but
yeah,
I don't know how you beat that. Okay. But it's not about beating. You're just next. Tell me about you.
I am professionally, I'm a strength and conditioning coach, and I really focus on using exercise science to counterbalance the physiological changes as we age, because I really believe that movement is the core as we age, and that it is the platform in which we grow old gracefully. And
Amen. Sorry for interrupting, but wow, you're speaking my language. Okay.
I love that you understand that. And I'm a mom of a 15-year-old fierce daughter, and I have two cats that I love, and that's about it.
So how did the two of you come together to form the Feminine Warrior?
You go ahead, Dianne.
I first met Helen because I was rebranding my site and I needed pictures done. And the moment I met Helen, it was amazing. On the surface, it would appear that we hit it off because we're both in our 50s. We're both moms of teenagers. We both love fashion. We both love to travel. And we both kind of had this childlike wonderment about the world, but really it was about how we both understood that in order to really seek change in our lives, we had to go deep within ourselves and really look at those parts, those parts of us, the parts we don't want to look at, the parts we don't want to claim, and really bring them back, love them again, accept them, bring them back into light. And that really connected us. We both, it was like a soul sister. We'd finally found someone who really got sort of our intrinsic beliefs on how to be in the world.
So you felt that your deep dive into the darkness, both individually and sharing your experience with each other, was something that you felt that you could bring to a platform to have women talk about their deep dives and how it's changed them. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think one of the things that Diane and I both shared is that as we grow as women and spiritually, it's hard work, right? But when you go into the darkness for lack, and darkness is when we've been hurt or we've had challenges, that if we can shift away from avoiding that and realize like that's where we learn, that's where we grow, that's where our lessons are, and what can we retrieve from that. So we both found that there's so many different platforms out there for healing, which is really wonderful, but also that you can heal through the darkness. It doesn't have to be, like Diana always says, all rainbow and unicorns.
And it's you can do it yourself. Like you can do it yourself. Yeah.
It's true. You can. So maybe before we get into what you have experienced with the feminine warrior, maybe you could tell me, if you feel comfortable, how you became a warrior. What was your darkness? Helen?
I can.
Diane? Yeah, please. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I think for me, when I left my marriage, my daughter was 3 years old. I hit a point in my life where I thought, this is where I'm supposed to be, married with a kid, like dream home. And then I left my marriage. I knew that I was dying inside and that I really had no choice. So when I left my marriage, I thought that was the bottom, but it wasn't. I went through, 2 years of insomnia and just like not really accepting this is my new place, not understanding how did I get here. And it was really only when I accepted the only way out of this was to go inward and to deep dive and to redefine myself. That was the only way out. And that's when I stepped in my feminine warrior. And that's where I began to rise, when I committed to the fact that my outer world was always a reflection of my inner world. No matter what the circumstance, that's where I regained my power and my feminine warrior.
You are speaking my language again. Wow. Wow. Okay. I'm going to love this conversation. I feel it. Before I comment on that, Helen, maybe you could tell me about how you stepped into your feminine warrior.
I think for me, I think when I got sober, 8 years ago, I got sober, and that was an opportunity for me to stay with the pain that I was in. And a lot of the pain that I experienced was I was abused growing up, and I had a brother that I was very close to who passed away. And alcohol was something that I thought was helping me, but it obviously wasn't. And when I quit drinking, everything came up and I had to stay with it. I didn't have an escape from it. And through that, I realized that I was a lot stronger than I thought I was, and that everything that I was looking for outside of myself was actually within myself. And I had the time to find that power within me that helped me be more present for myself and step up. And through that, you step up for everybody around you, like I'm a better person. And I think that's one of the amazing things, is that when we can get comfortable with our pain, too.
I'm sorry, you just cut out there. Can you say that again?
Yeah, I was just saying, when we can get more comfortable with our pain, that it's not only a gift that we give to ourselves, but it's also a gift to others.
How so?
Because I think when we are living in pain and we don't deal with it, we act out sometimes from areas of ourselves because we haven't healed. And I think when we can stay in our pain and when we can heal it, then we're better people. We're more present. And I found that my relationship with my husband, with my mother, with my kids, it's just more, it's more organic, instead of sort of blaming, going, oh, well, it's because of my mom or because of this,
right,
where it's like you
right.
take responsibility for yourself.
I'm interested to hear how you heal within yourself when, Dianne was saying that you don't necessarily have to seek professional help. You could do it yourself. You could really spend time with yourself, which a lot of people are not comfortable doing, and looking inwards, which is a very, very tough thing to do.
It is.
And so I wonder, how do you heal yourself? Did you speak? Did you have help? Did you have therapy?
For myself or
Yeah.
Dianne? But yeah,
Both.
no, I
Okay.
had done therapy throughout the years. And then when I decided to quit drinking, it was through my practice, like my meditation. I practice Buddhism, and
Wow.
that really helped me, and just staying with it. And yeah, I think that was a lot of it for myself. And there are times, I mean, over the years that I've seen therapists, I don't much anymore, but I'm also lucky I have incredibly supportive people around me. So if I'm struggling, I can just call up a girlfriend or my husband and say, can you just sit with me and let me work through this and talk about this? But I also have to say that I feel like I had, like all of us, I have bumps along the way, but it's nothing new. What comes up, I know. Like when something comes up, I'm like, oh, I know what this is. Okay, I know what triggered this. And I'm able to work through it. And what used to take me maybe a week or months now takes me maybe a day or a couple of hours to figure out and release.
Do you feel the same, Dianne? Do you have that same coping mechanism now?
Absolutely. I mean, I've certainly gone to therapy over the years, and I think it's necessary at times, but it seemed to only ever get me to a certain level. And I completely agree. Like, I think that personally, one of the most foundational things for me is my meditation practice, because I see it as training the mind and providing this space of, just like Helen said, like something comes up and you can kind of hold still and go, okay, what is this, without knee-jerk reaction. And again, having women in your life like Helen, she'll hold space for me in a non-judgmental space, as non-judgmental space for me, as much as I want. Like, she'll sit with me with it, and I so value that. So that's why we talk about feminine warriorship and being together as women and people and supporting each other to rise. Like, I personally couldn't just do it on my own.
I feel like a lot of women don't have the wherewithal to ask for the warriorship. They don't have the means or the friendship. They think they do, but they don't. And it is such a testament to have two women who have come together, who have been on their own personal journeys and now have seen the light and are sitting in their light together, separately, but together, and want to inspire people, particularly women, to do the same. I think there is something extraordinary about that. I feel very strong most of the time. I feel I have called myself a warrior for more than a decade. And so whenever I hear the word warrior, I get, oh, okay, there's another warrior out there. But listening to the both of you right now, I feel, wow, I've got a lot of work to do, but in a good way, I share
But you
with
know
you
what,
because
though? I know what
yeah.
you're saying, but I have to say, when we had our opportunity to sit down with you for our podcast, you're incredible. Like, you're so inspiring. And what your journey has been, and how you rise up, and how, you doing this podcast and wanting to shed light on others, like, you're doing it.
Thank you. That is kind of you. I appreciate that. That really is the crux of this. That's what I wanted. And that's why it's called On the DL, because I want people to share their stories, their experiences, because I truly believe that these kinds of conversations do resonate and they help people. Right? They really do help people. My takeaway has always been, if one person listens or watches and they feel a little bit different, then I've done a great job. That's where I am in
That's
my career.
amazing.
That's where I feel I want to be in my career. And so when I came across the two of you, I thought, oh my goodness, I know there's a lot of women doing this out there, but this was a connection for me. That's why I wanted you so much to be here. I will share with you, Dianne, that we have a similar circumstance, that I also
Mm-hmm.
left a marriage when I had a 3-year-old and a
Mm-hmm.
1-year-old, and sat with that for years in tremendous, tremendous pain, not understanding where my
Mm-hmm.
life had gone. Professionally, though, I was thriving and nobody would know, except I did look like a shell of myself. That was one indication. But I did go for help. I did go for therapy. And I will
Mm-hmm.
tell you, the deep dive into darkness was so painful. There were many, many, many days, weeks where I would say, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to be in this place
Mm-hmm.
anymore. And my therapist would say to me, you have to keep going. Got
Mm-hmm.
to keep going. And it would be the nights and the days of chaos, the nights of insomnia, little babies,
Mm-hmm.
completely alone. All of that was going on. And it kept going and it kept going and it kept going and it kept going. And
Mm-hmm.
I saw the light, and it does happen. And for some women, it happens in their 30s, some women, it happens in their 40s, some 50s, 60s, whenever it happens. But I connect with both of you because I understand what that means. It's very emotional even talking about it, because it was a while ago, but it's something that never leaves you. Thank goodness it never leaves you, because like Helen said, you can get back to that place very quickly and learn how to cope and deal, as opposed to being impulsive. And
Mm-hmm.
so I wonder now, what do you do, Dianne, when you get to any of those places where you feel like you're being almost pulled back into the darkness?
Because I really believe things happen. It's not a linear process of healing.
Mm-hmm.
Healing is secular. So that
Mm-hmm.
it still comes around a little bit. Like, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
my ex-husband, we've been apart 10 years now,
Mm-hmm.
and he just moved out of the city because, you know, he teaches outside the city and it made more sense. And it was strange that I got this feeling like, oh, it's over. And I had a feeling of sad come over me, even though we haven't been together and I've worked so much on it. And I just think that it just comes around, and for a moment, it was strange to me. But then again, it's just the secular healing. It's not always over. It's always a work in progress. Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense. And I want you to say that again, because it is secular. It's not a beginning, middle, and end. That's what's so important about warriorship. If you are a warrior, you are a warrior forever. It's not over. And women need to feel that empowerment. Just because you're feeling better, that's fabulous. You're feeling better. You're in the light. Stay in the light. But know that now that you're a warrior, you can do this. You
Yeah,
can
and you
keep
can go
going.
into the dark and come back again.
Right. Because
You can always rise. That's what I
as we
think
age,
I hold in my
right?
heart, that I can always rise. Yeah.
Helen, do you feel that too? Like as we age, as we're getting older, um, we start, I mean, there's so many things that happen as we get older, just individually, but so much happens around us. Do you feel that being a warrior has made you that much stronger to deal with things that are coming your way now?
Yeah, I think so. And when you're also the rising and the strength, it doesn't have to be this like I am strong. Like being, for me, it's my vulnerability, right? It's being able to ask for help. It's being able to cry and go, I'm really struggling right now. But in that softness is also how we can heal. It doesn't have to be this like, okay, I'm never, you know. So I find that, yes. And I also find of aging is that I'm able to say, like, does this really need this much time for me? You know, worrying about stuff, maybe what other people think or stuff. Like, you could get to a point where you're like, you know what, I'm done with that. I'm not going to repeat that pattern again. I'm done, you know, and you're able to move away from it.
I just had that. I just had that. And I was so proud of myself that I was in it it like was shit for, I don't know, maybe a few hours at the most. And I thought, I'm, I, I do not have to be in this. I do not have to feel this way.
Yes.
I was so proud of myself. So proud of myself. I'm so proud to say it. And that has come with age and wisdom and experience.
Yeah. And I like what you said,
Amen.
that how you said that. It's true. It's like, I don't have to do this anymore. I don't have to feel like this. Like, you get to choose.
Right.
Yeah.
And I have the power of me.
Yes.
You're the gatekeeper. I mean, that's something I always teach. I really hope to instill in my daughter. And I think so far I've seen that in her, that she decides what comes in. She decides where she goes. She decides what she accepts as truth.
Right. And it's not, you know, it's important on every level, right? Because people sometimes misinterpret what others are saying. So it's very important for me for people to understand that if you're talking about something in regards to your relationship or personal life, and you don't want to sit in the shit, and or you don't want to be in that feeling, and you want to get out of it, or professionally you don't want to sit in it, you want to get out of it, it doesn't mean that you're supposed to particularly change an action. It's how you're dealing with it, right? Is so sometimes it's out of our control. So for example, your ex-husband moves out of the city, that's out of your control, but how you deal with that feeling, as opposed to being in that feeling for weeks, maybe it was just a few hours, and you were able to move away from something that didn't make you feel good because you have the coping skills, you've seen the light, so you know how to get back to it quicker. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And understanding, like, it's okay if I felt that. It doesn't define me. It doesn't make me 10 feet, like 10 steps back. It's just a glimpse. It's just a moment. And if you let it just pass through you, then you can move on.
Right. And sometimes as it passes, you feel it, which is always good too. Because feeling it a little bit is also a reminder of how much you don't want to be in that. That's what I always say to myself. I always say my kids always ask me, like, if something happens, they'll say, "Oh, you must be so mad, or that must have pissed you off." I went, well, in the moment it did, but I'm glad it happened, because now I'm not going to let that happen again. Like, I learned from that. And that's wisdom. And that's, I really believe there's a difference between maturity and wisdom, because you can be as mature as you want to be, but wisdom really does come with experience and age. It just does. My mom used to say that to me all the time, and I used to think she was bananas. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like, older people are wise. I'm like, whatever. And I used to roll my eyes at her thinking, you have no idea, you don't know what you're talking about. And finally I say, Mom, you're right, because I'm becoming wise. I feel wise now. You know, each experience makes us wiser, and you can have a ton of experience in your 20s and 30s. But I love, Helen, how you have literally defined post 40 and have said, I would like to celebrate women post 40 because they start to even feel invisible. They're probably not, but they start to feel it. Maybe you can talk about that a bit.
Yeah, I guess for me, when I turned 40 and as I continued to age, I just felt that there weren't a lot of, first of all, when I would speak to certain women about aging, they would be like, oh, it sucks, you become invisible. And I thought, I don't want to become invisible. Like, that just made me feel really sad.
Yes.
And then, you know, I started, it's almost like when you open your mind to something, you just start to see a lot more information. And I would see, you know, even when we think about, you know, the whole aging process, I mean, you look at commercials on TV and it's all about getting rid of those wrinkles, or, you know, minimizing wrinkles, or tightening your skin, or whatever it is. And whatever women want to do, that's totally cool. But we have to change the dialogue with women when it comes to aging. Wrinkles are not bad. Wrinkles, gray hair, gaining weight, it doesn't mean you aren't worthy. It doesn't mean you are still not incredible and beautiful, but we're conditioned, and younger women are afraid of getting older because of this too. So as much as I even think sometimes with social media, we focus a lot on young women, how it affects them, which I think is really important. But I also think these young women are going to get older, and how we, these three here, and women out there who are in their 40s and 50s, how we age and embrace it, we are teaching the younger generation about that too. So we need to sort of empower ourselves with this, and not, and just have more visible women in their 40s and 50s and 60s, and have women like, you know, we look at celebrities, like we look at J-Lo and go, oh my God, she looks amazing for 50. Well, it's, of course she does. She's also got so much money where she can do stuff and go for facials all the time. And, you know, but a lot of women, like that costs money, and that's not available to every woman.
That's not
right?
Facials.
I know.
Just saying. I don't want to be rude. Listen, she's gorgeous. She's gorgeous. And I think she's 52 now, or 51. But let's just like call a spade. That is not, I have facials. That is not a facial. Okay. Like that is like, I mean, there's everything going on there. Like I can tell you, right? I mean, we look in the mirror and we know, like,
I'm trying to be nice. I don't want to.
No, you don't have to be nice. You're on the DL. You can say whatever you want.
But
and you know, I love that you're saying
also,
that particularly.
It's okay.
Yes, of course it's okay.
I just wanted to say it's also okay if she does it. I mean, it's about choice.
Absolutely.
If that's what she wants to do, there's nothing wrong with that.
But I think be honest about it. You know, when you're standing there going, oh, look at me, I'm 52, I look amazing. Why don't you tell people why you look amazing, instead of women going, well, how come she looks like that? And so I agree, do whatever you want to do, but own it.
Yeah. And I love that you're saying that, Helen, because you modeled for years. You know what that industry looks like and the pressure. And now, as you said, with social media, everybody's a model, everybody's a star, everybody's famous, right? So you just go on your phone and you get to see what everybody looks like. You know, I always say I'm the queen of the filter that refilters. So you know, I'll take a picture and I'll look at myself and I screech like, like literally scream. Oh my God, that can't happen. I can't put that on. It's like, oh yes, I can. Wait, I can swipe and I can filter that wrinkle right out. And I'm super guilty of that. But I talk about it.
Exactly. You own it.
This is the best. My sister will call me and she'll say, oh my God, you look so great. What is that, foundation or lipstick? I'm like, what are you talking about? It's the same. It's just Vivid. It's called Vivid. It's a filter on the phone. You know, when you take a picture and you get it's called Vivid. Just put it on Vivid. She went, really? I'm like, yes. And so she's, that was it.
But do you not feel when you do that though? Because I find when I post stuff, I don't filter stuff.
Of course not. You're a photographer.
But that's also because I don't want that pressure, right? Like I don't want to see people on the street and go, oh, that's what you really look like. Do you know what I mean? Like I feel like we present ourselves, but then there's a lot of pressure to have to look like that.
Right. Yes, I feel that yes and no. I mean, this is me right now. You can see there's no filter. Here I am. See all my little wrinkles. But I also say, this is my favorite that I quoted an Instagram handle that I love called at Chapter 50. She's fabulous. She's from out of Germany, and she does lots of beautiful quotes and pictures and celebrates women over 50. And one of her quotes one day was about something to the extent of, wrinkles are just where your smiles have been. That's all it is. It's just redefining where, like, your laugh lines and your smile. And so I love that. I loved embracing that. But the other part of that is, for me and Diane, and I wanted to talk to you particularly about this, is the idea of fitness and moving and staying healthy post 40, post 45, post 50, post 55. I have always said, that, not that it's a myth, but I felt like it's a myth that as soon as you turn a certain age, you lose your body, you feel horrible, you gain weight, you look terrible. And I thought that can't be true. There has to be something that we can do to empower each other as women and feel good about doing it at the same time. And so I constantly talk about, I move every single day. I walk every day. I need the fresh air and I walk. often I work out, I'll talk about working out as well. I've had injuries. I talk about my injuries, what I do to compensate for that. Do you believe that there is an age where it just hits you and you just, not that you give up, but you have to say, I'm sorry, I have to give in?
Never. Absolutely
Yay!
not. Never, never, never.
Yay!
I'm never giving up. I mean, I have
Good.
women I train that are in their late 70s that are phenomenal, have great figures, and move like they're in their 20s. I mean, I don't think you ever need to get up. What you do need to do is be respectful of the age that you're at. So you train smarter. You know, like as we age, we have to start working on stability around the joint. You just change it a little bit. You don't go to maybe, and you do a workout where it supports where you're at and sort of counterbalances that. I do not, I'll never give up personally.
Do you work out with Helen?
I have worked out with Helen.
Helen, you work out?
I do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, because you both, I mean, I've only seen you sitting, but you both have a glow. You have that healthy glow. And I'm not talking about waist size or the size of your legs or any of that. I'm talking about the glow that you have. When you are a certain age as a woman, you do look different when you move. Yeah. It's just a fact. You have to move. And it could be stretching and breathing and meditating. And I have to say that has really been my challenge. My lifelong challenge has been meditation.
Yeah.
And that I try so hard, and I just probably haven't had the right, I don't even know if it's the teacher or I've been in the right headspace to do it, but I really want to do it.
But I think,
properly.
So Dianne should speak to you about this, because Dianne's meditation is different than mine, but Dianne also uses her fitness. That's also her meditation. So Dianne, you should share about that, because I think that we have this idea of what meditation is. And yes, you know, like sitting down, being still, but there's so many other forms. And I know for Dianne that her physical activity is a form of meditation for her.
Yeah, moving meditation.
Thanks, Helen. Absolutely. Like, I know what you mean. I think for myself, I've always wanted to meditate, yet I never could quite fit into that traditional model. And because I'm kinesthetic in my learning. And so I find when I bring meditation into my fitness practice, that's where I really get the best benefit. So even going for a run, so moving helps me get into that space. And I think that I think meditation, when it was brought to the West, it was brought as one form, but really the essence of it is to get into that connection with self. So it doesn't really matter how you do it. It's just getting there. And I think that I can speak for Helen and I both. I think our glow comes from our meditation practice. I mean, I am fit, but really my inner glow comes from that aspect. I
love that. I feel the same way. I absolutely feel the same way. And I think that when we all go through our ebbs and flows with ourselves, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and when you're in an ebb and you're not feeling that inner light, there's something that you can do that can change that, right? Both of you are a testament to that. And Dianne, I know you talk about how movement and meditation has been so much for that for you. Helen, where do you go when you're in that ebb and you need to find the light?
I mean, I start my day with my practice. So I get up in the morning. I do. So I get up at around, you know, in the summer, I get up at 5:30. I find it a little harder in the winter because it's so dark, but I try to get up around 6, and I make my tea and I go down to my meditation area. And that's where I begin. And it's how I start my day. And
how long have you done that for?
Oh my gosh, I don't even know. I honestly, like, it feels like forever. At least 20 years, I would say.
And nobody bugs you at 6 o'clock in the morning?
No, you know, it's funny. I remember once, and sometimes I don't do it at 6. Like sometimes if I have a corporate shoot or I'm busy, but it'll be somewhere then in the afternoon or at the end of the day. I would say 90% of the time it's in the morning. But I remember once I was meditating and my boys were young and I was doing an afternoon meditation and they were fighting and they came running into the room. They're like, mom, mom, mom. And I'm just sitting there doing my and they stopped and they sat next to me quietly and they waited.
Oh, amazing.
And then when I finished my meditation, I turned to them, I said, yes. And they, he did this and blah, 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 blah. It was, they respect it. Like my family respects my time. They respect, this is my journey and how I ground myself. And so, yeah, so it's just such a part of my life. And because of that, my kids' lives.
You are
You're an
so
awesome mom,
lucky.
Helen.
Yeah. That is a testament to you. Yeah, that is amazing. I don't know if my boys would. I don't know. I'm working out this morning, and I'm being not yelled at, but Mom, I need this, and they're teenagers. Like, get it together, boys.
Yeah, they do that when I'm working out, but they won't. For some reason, when I'm meditating, they know they will not come in, or if they do, they quietly come in and they'll just sit and they'll wait.
Tell me what you think has been or is the biggest challenge of living with teens. Not just raising them, but living with them.
Oh,
the emotional up and down, the moment to moment drama. And then you're thinking, okay, I get sucked into it and then it changes on the dime and I'm upset. And then she's like, what? Yeah. That part I find. And then okay, don't get sucked in. It's going to come up. It's going to go, the drama of it, the roller coaster.
Yeah.
Is that more female teen than male teen?
Probably. Because
I have two boys. I know, Helen, you have two boys. Yeah. So I don't feel the drama. I mean, the hormonal, the emotional shifting, of course, the cranky 1 second, laughing the next. That goes on, I think, for a while. But what do you think, Helen?
I'm trying to right now. I was talking to my husband this morning because I see it with my boys, and because I photograph a lot of individuals who have kids and stuff. There's an age right now, I would say tweens up into the 2021, they're really struggling, like with mental illness, anxiety. And I think COVID has triggered that. Terrible. And I don't know what it's done to them, but I see it with my own boys. I hear parents talking about their kids are just anxious and suicidal. And I don't know what COVID has done, but it is that age demographic. It's really hit them hard.
It's terrible.
It's horrible to see. It's horrible to witness. It's horrible. It breaks my heart. And I haven't quite figured, I mean, my boys have struggled, and I just try to hold that space and let them know that they're safe and they're loved and that we've got them. But it's a real, I'm, I was actually this afternoon going to do some research because I'm just like, why is it affecting this age demographic so badly? What has it done to them?
Teens, teens are like pack animals, right?
Yeah.
In a way. And their pack was broken up, and the only way that they could connect was electronically. Yeah. And that's just sort of gross, right? I mean, for me, it's been hard. I would have done anything to interview the two of you face to face, right? I love that. I'm a social person by nature. And I think teens, even though many of them are not social, they still need interaction. They needed that so badly. And so the isolation became tremendous. It just got worse and worse for them. And then the re-entry into school and the world. Yeah. I mean, watching really that difficult for me, I couldn't believe what I was watching. I mean, the anxiety was insane, just from an academic point of view and then a social point of view. It was just, I mean, I have one now who's finishing high school. He's in grade 12. And the pressure is just insane. I watch him and I'm so proud of him. I must say I'm so, so, so proud of him that he is rising to this, but it's really, it's quite something. And then I have my younger one who's in grade 9 who just started high school, and he'll say, I didn't have school for 2 years. Like high school's, this is crazy. Like, where am I? Like he still feels like he's an alien in this big school. Right. So they've been going through a lot.
And teachers are burning out too, right? They're trying to get all this curriculum.
Oh, I can't even get started on my heart breaks. This is not the time to be a teacher. My heart breaks for the teachers, particularly of teenagers. Imagine.
Or even having
right?
like the mental capacity to go back to school every day, getting back into the grind of it. That's exhausting.
Totally exhausting. I mean, I think about what COVID did to women because we know how we were all affected.
Yeah.
And I have spoken to so many women who talk about their life completely changing over the last year and a half to 2 years. It's completely different.
Yeah.
And the way they have to deal with life and their families and relationships and work is completely different. And people don't get that. And that in itself isn't going to be another deep dive for so many women.
Yeah.
So many women. Can you tell me, maybe you both agree, who has been an extraordinary interview for you guys that you've loved or you've thought, wow, you really want people to listen to?
Well, we really loved you for sure.
Yeah.
Dana, you're amazing.
Thanks, that's nice.
For sure.
Oh, that's so nice of you. Thank you. I loved your questions.
We've been so lucky, huh, Helen? Who would you say, Helen?
Oh, it's hard because everybody brings something different.
Yeah.
I think, you know what, the one that really, we just did Susan Hay yesterday, and she's
so lovely.
She's so lovely. But I think the one that really, I think for Diane and I, when we interviewed Rachel Hunter, like she's just like this powerhouse, and she just really, like she said, we were both really moved, and I was really moved, and she stayed with me, things that she said, but she's unapologetically herself. And if you don't like it, if you don't have a problem with it, she's like, that's not my problem, you know, but she said it in such a beautiful way and such a strong way. And I think that she was pretty amazing.
I have to agree, Helen. Helen,
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. Like when I left that interview, for days after, I kept thinking, I have to go deeper here. Like she really just has this, it's so moving, this sense of self. Like it's profound, actually.
And she
delivers it so light. Yeah, it's so light the way she delivers, but it's like, yeah, and both Helen and I were teary-eyed.
When we speak, like sometimes we'll say, like, I will do this, like I'm a spiritual person, I'll go, okay, I know this might sound out there to you, and then but she doesn't do that. She just says what she wants. And I thought, why do I do that? Why do I always say to people like, well, this might sound out there? And it's like, why do I do that? You know, like it even made me think like she just spoke her truth and she didn't apologize for it. And if you think that she's like out there or Looney Tunes or not your thing, it's like, that's your problem, right? But she doesn't sort of apologize for herself at all. She doesn't apologize for what she's going to say. She just says it. And I think,
where is she now? At what stage in life?
She's 50. She's in her 50s. She's our age. Yeah. And
nice.
Yeah.
That's really nice. I would love to not be apologetic. I find myself saying that too. You may not understand this, or maybe I need to explain myself. And I hate that. I hate it. I hate that about me. I'm going to stop too, Helen. I think today I'm going to make it. That's my thing. That's my takeaway today. I am not going to keep apologizing for who I am, because honestly, I really am at this stage now. Like I've been having these epiphanies the last couple of weeks where I'm just like, I really, honestly, I don't give a shit. Yeah. You don't like me? I'm really sorry, because I've spent 20 years, with the jazz hands and the huge smile. And it's like, sorry, you don't like it? Too bad. Because this is where I'm at. This is me. Really, this is who I am. Not that wasn't me. That was a part of me, but that's not me anymore. This is me. Right. And do you find that that's what women are talking about most on your podcast? Is like coming into their own? Is that really mostly what you're finding?
I think so. Diane, do you think so? I mean, I think it's interesting. I love, even Dana, when you spoke, like when I hear women share their stories and hear their stories of how they rise and what their challenges, like I learn from that. Right. So that's why I love all these female podcasts right now, because when you speak or when women speak, like I really listen and I'm like, oh, like there's bits of ourselves that we can find in there, and it inspires us. And that's why it's so important what you're doing and what we're doing about just sharing these stories of these incredible women so that we can all learn and grow, right, and rise together.
Beautiful. It's beautiful. And
Yeah,
I am very grateful to both of you for having your podcast, for having me on your podcast, and for coming on the DL and sharing so much. I didn't know either of your stories before. I just knew sort of that baseline about both of you, but I'm feeling very connected. And I think that anybody who have listened to this conversation will feel the same for sure. And hopefully really inspired. I feel inspired.
Aw.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely.
Well, I was just going to say, oh, sorry. I was just going to say that we're lucky, and I am very grateful to have Dianne in my life, and that we're on this journey together. And like what Dianne said at the beginning, like, I don't think I could have done this on my own. And I like that I have this soul sister that I get to do this with.
Amazing.
And that we get to meet incredible women like you. And
that's so nice.
Yeah, it's
that's really incredible. That was my goal with my show, with On the DL, was that I said, I want to speak to everybody and anybody who I haven't spoken to. I've always wanted to, aside from like, super famous people. Of course, they're on my bucket list, but when J-Lo comes on, I'll ask her about her wrinkles. But I really love that you're fulfilling that and you're doing it in sisterhood. I think that it's really beautiful. So tell everybody how they can find you.
You go, Dianne.
Go ahead,
okay,
Dianne.
Well, we have our Feminine Warrior podcast. You can subscribe on your favorite platform. And then we also have the Feminine Warrior website, thefemininewarrior.ca. And then also our Instagram handle, which is Feminine Warriorship.
Beautiful. And is there anything that I haven't asked you that you wanted to talk about?
No.
You're both like, no, I think you said it all. We want to make sure that I want to make sure that I getting this across, that women do not fade at all at this stage in our lives. And I will share with you that I was dreading this age and stage of my life for so long, thinking, well, I'm in an industry where I thought was ageist, but they're not. And I mean, Susan Hay can attest to that too. And you think that they're going to treat you poorly because you're getting older, but you know what? They don't, because if you treat yourself well and you shine and you are authentic as possible, they don't want you for who you are. Someone else will. So, and that is in every industry. You do not curl up in a ball and just fade into the woodwork. That doesn't happen for women. And I believe every year it gets better and better, and we need to fight for it.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely.
And we have to keep being those role models and inspire and let everybody know we are not invisible. And you both are doing the most beautiful job with that. And I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the DL. It's incredible. Amazing conversation.
Thank you very
Dana.
much.
Thanks, Diane. Thanks, Helen.
Okay.
Be well, both of you.
You too.
Yeah, lots of love to you too. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.